In 1973, a man in Sheffield went to his first football match. He was 7 years old. Since that day, he hasn't missed a single home game. Not for weddings, not for funerals, not for the birth of his second child. He listened to that one on a radio in the hospital corridor. You probably know someone like him. Maybe you were someone like him. And here's the strange part. By any rational measure, this makes no sense. The tickets cost money. The travel eats your weekends. The team loses roughly half the time, which means half of these experiences end in misery. A cold cost-benefit analysis gives you one answer: stay home. But scientists have actually studied these fans. They've swabbed their saliva mid-match, measured their hormones, tracked their heart rates and stands. And what they found is remarkable. The brain of a devoted fan doesn't process a match like entertainment at all. It processes it like survival. Over the next 15 minutes, I'll show you what's really happening inside the mind of a fan who never misses a match and why. By the end of this video, irrational might be the last word you'd use. Start with a small experiment you can run on anyone you know. Ask them about their team's last win, then about its last defeat. Listen to the pronouns. After a win, we won. After a loss, they lost. Almost nobody notices they're doing it. The language slips out automatically, and it reveals something most fans never say out loud. The team isn't something they watch. It's something they are. Psychologists have a framework for this. In the 1970s, Henri Tajfel showed that humans build their sense of self partly out of group memberships. He called it social identity theory. Your nationality, your profession, your team, each one becomes a room in the house of who you are. But for the fans we're talking about, the ones who never miss a match, researchers found something stronger than identification. They call it identity fusion. The boundary between self and group doesn't just overlap. It dissolves. The two circles become one. And once that happens, the rules change completely. An insult to the team is processed as an insult to you. A relegation battle is a threat to your own status. The match isn't a show you're attending, it's an event happening to you. Which raises an obvious question. If the brain treats the team as part of the self, what is the body doing during a match? The answer comes from a stadium in Brazil, and it's stranger than you'd expect. July 2014. Natal, Brazil. The World Cup semifinal. Researchers led by anthropologist Martha Newson are working the crowd at live screenings with an unusual request: spit in this tube. They collected saliva samples before, during, and after matches, including the night Brazil lost to Germany 7-1, one of the most traumatic results in football history. They were measuring cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone. The result: the more fused a fan's identity was with the team, the more cortisol flooded their system. The most devoted fans were in a full physiological stress response, the same chemical state you'd enter if you were facing the threat yourself. Their bodies had stopped spectating, and it goes further than stress. Back in 1998, psychologist Paul Bernhard ran a now-famous study on testosterone. He sampled fans before and after games basketball, football, and found that fans of the winning team showed a testosterone rise of around 20%. Fans of the losing team dropped by about the same amount. Read that again. These people did nothing. They sat in a seat for 2 hours, and their endocrine systems responded exactly like the athletes, the hormonal signature of victory and defeat, without ever touching the ball. This is what scientists call vicarious experience, and devoted fans are extraordinarily good at it. When your team scores, the reward circuits in your brain fire as if you achieved something yourself. Because as far as your brain is concerned, you did. The self and the team are fused. The win belongs to you. So that's the body. But it still doesn't explain the never part. Why can't these fans just watch the highlights later? Why does it have to be live every single time? The answer involves the most addictive molecule in your head. Dopamine has a reputation as the pleasure chemical, but that's not quite right. Dopamine is really the anticipation chemical, and it has a quirk that explains almost everything about live sport. Your dopamine system fires hardest not for rewards you expect, but for rewards you can't predict. A guaranteed outcome barely registers. An uncertain one lights the system up. Casinos discovered this by accident decades ago. It's called a variable reward schedule, and it's the engine behind slot machines and social media feeds alike. Now, look at a football match through that lens. 90 minutes of pure, unscripted uncertainty. No writer, no ending decided in advance. Every moment capable of flipping the story. A last-minute equalizer is, neurochemically speaking, a jackpot, one of the most potent reward events a brain can experience. And this is precisely why the devoted fan must watch live. Once you know the result, the uncertainty is gone, and with it, the dopamine. Highlights of the casino paying you in receipts. The fan who never misses a match isn't addicted to football. They're committed to uncertainty itself, to being there in the one window of time when anything is still possible. There's a reason fans say a spoiled scoreline feels like theft. Something real was taken, the entire neurological event. So missing a match doesn't mean seeing it later. It means it never happens to you at all. Watch what happens in a crowd when a goal goes in. Strangers hugging strangers. 80,000 people moving as one body, singing with one voice. Sociologist Emil Durkheim had a name for this over a century ago. Collective effervescence, the electric feeling of losing yourself in a crowd that shares one heartbeat. Humans evolved in tribes. We're wired to crave belonging, synchronized movement, shared emotion, and modern life has quietly stripped those experiences away. We live alone more, worship less, know our neighbors barely. Loneliness has become so widespread that public health officials describe it as an epidemic. The stadium is one of the last places on earth where the tribe still gathers. Same people, same seats, same songs, week after week, year after year. For many fans, the match is the most reliable community. They have friendships measured in decades, built almost entirely inside 90-minute windows. Emotion spreads through a crowd by contagion. We automatically mirror the feelings of people around us. So the highs climb higher and the lows cut deeper than anything you can feel on your sofa. Watching alone and being there aren't the same experience diluted. They're different experiences entirely. And there's a thread running deeper still. Ask a devoted fan how it started, and you almost never hear about the team. You hear about a person. My dad took me. My grandmother never missed a broadcast. The match becomes a place where people we've lost are still somehow present, same fixture, same seat, same ritual. Skipping it doesn't just mean missing a game. It means breaking a chain that runs back through your whole life. Now for the honest part, because this much devotion isn't free. Remember those hormone studies? They cut both ways. The fused fan feels victories like personal triumphs and defeats like personal losses. Research has linked big losses to measurably worse moods for days, disrupted sleep, even lower productivity at work the following week. It gets more serious. During the 2006 World Cup, German researchers tracked cardiac emergencies in Munich and found that on days the national team played knockout matches, cardiac events more than doubled among people with existing heart conditions. The stress of watching is real. Stress the body doesn't distinguish. And the same dopamine machinery that makes live sport magnificent also makes some fans vulnerable to the sports betting industry, is built directly on top of the reward circuits we described earlier, selling extra uncertainty to brains already primed for it. So no, this video isn't claiming obsessive fandom is pure upside. It's claiming something more precise. The devotion is real, it's biological, and it runs far deeper than the word hobby can hold. Which brings us to the final question. Knowing all the costs, why don't they ever stop? Here's the conclusion the research points to, and it's not the one economists would predict. The fan who never misses a match isn't trapped by habit, and they're not chasing entertainment. Plenty of things are more entertaining than a goalless draw in the rain. What the team offers is something almost nothing else in modern life can: continuity. Jobs change, cities change, people arrive in your life and leave it. But the team, the colors, the ground, the songs is a fixed point. The 7-year-old at their first match and the 70-year-old in the same stand are the same person, and the club is the proof. Every match attended is a stitch holding the story of a life together. So when scientists ask why some fans never miss a match, the data gives 4 answers stacked on top of each other. Identity, the team is part of the self. Chemistry, the body lives every match like a real event. Tribe, the stands are one of the last true communities. And continuity, the match connects every version of who you've ever been. Miss the match? You might as well ask them to miss a piece of themselves. That man from Sheffield. By the way, fans like him exist at almost every club on earth, in every sport, on every continent. Half a century of weekends, given to something that never once asked for proof it deserved them. Now, you know what science sees when it looks at that devotion? Not madness. Architecture. Some of the deepest machinery a human being has. So here's the question for the comments. What's the match you refuse to miss? and what did you skip to be there? The best stories end up pinned. If this changed how you see the fan in your life or the fan in your mirror, subscribe. Next time, we're exploring why your brain remembers heartbreaking defeats more vividly than any victory. You won't want to miss it. But then, you already knew that.